traders, welcome to this GJ update, and I'm currently in two positions. I'm really going to have to break this down like a fraction for you guys because there were multiple opportunities to get in on this trade. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I actually do have a trade on here that I got into, but I lost because of a really silly and stupid mistake, which I'll explain in a moment. And you're going to think, what an idiot. But nonetheless, let's dive into this. So let's actually, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this for now so you can actually see what happened. All right. So the multiple opportunities. So you've got to remember that number one, the market is moving into a daily area of supply. Okay. And within that daily area of supply, we have a nested H4 zone. And that move up to that area of supply, we have all white candles. Why do we want all white candles? Because we want no friction on the way down. And this could give us a nice push down. Or what will happen is that tomorrow we'll get a continuation pattern and the market will just push straight through. Hopefully, we'll get another push down. But let's go and zoom in. So number one, I think from the last video, I was looking at this level for an event break area, which has just kind of like been broken. And the main reason why I'm looking at that area for an event break is because, you know, I like levels that have just broken previous highs. So I find that one quite valuable. And as you can see, we've got a bit of friction if we go down to the smaller time frames. It took quite a lot to get through there, and it's just, you know, pushed through there slightly. So on the way up, we've got a few more event breaks as well. We've got one here that got broken, but we've got our main event break, which is the event break that is closest to price. Now, if we're playing this event break, we're simply playing this event break from a daily perspective, okay? So we've got the move into the daily zone. Forget the H4 for now. We've got the move into the daily zone. Then we've got the bearish engulfing structure. This would have been our trigger event when the market then moves into this area. Sorry, when the market moves back into here again. This trigger event was quite large, so you'd probably have to play like a 5-minute event break. But I think if we zoom in and we see that there is a 5-minute event break, but then the market does not move up to it at the area closest to price. There is no return to that zone. But if we scoot further down, we've got another event break here. And we can see that this area here, even though this area here, we've got this zone here, does break it a bit. Yeah, it does break above it a bit. So, I mean, you could have given it some extra room, but still wouldn't really worked out too well, to be honest with you. So that is that. So that H1, if you'd played it straight, yeah, but looking for a 5-minute event break would not have panned out as well. So that was the first opportunity of the daily, the market breaking through that H1 event break area, which is closest to price, and then coming in for this H1 zone as the trigger. Now for myself personally, I took this H4 zone straight, 37 pips, not my usual, like a bit larger than, you know, my usual pip range for my risk, but nonetheless, it was still within my risk parameters, and I took the whole 37 pip range. And as you can see, the market touched it perfectly, like perfectly, like to the pip, and then bounced away beautifully. Now, we've got multiple confluences here. Now, if we was playing this H4 zone, what are we looking for? We are now looking for a 15-minute event break. So many things happened today, guys. Oh my goodness. So we're looking for a 15-minute event break, right? So we've got our 15-minute event break right here. Okay. Then we're going to look for the trigger. Trigger right here. As you can see, the market moved into it fully and then came out nicely. That was the second option, playing it from this H4 area of supply nested in that daily supply zone. Okay, so that was our second option. Now, where I got my second trade, not so, it was a bit messy, to be honest with you, because we've got my first trade up here now. All right, guys, we've got my first trade up here. And then we've got my second trade. So you've got to remember that what I'm seeing now is that this H1 zone, right, after it's moved out of there, right, this H1 zone is now holding up price. So we've got a lot of confluence here. Number one, we've got the daily area of supply. Number two, we've got H4 zone as well that seems to be holding up price. And then during the Asian session around 1 o'clock in the morning, the market moves into this H1 zone and it doesn't break the top of this zone. Okay, it doesn't break the top of this zone throughout the entire Asian session, right? It doesn't break it. So this, when I wake up this morning around 7 o'clock, it's giving me like signals. I'm like, okay, so it didn't break that. So we're holding. We're currently holding, right? So then I then see this 15-minute structure, bearish engulfing structure right here, seems to be holding up price. So then I take a short as soon as the market comes out. I then take a short when it moves back in because it's giving me a good risk reward ratio. And if I get in there, then we are good to go. So this is my second trade. Okay, this is my second trade coming out of this H1 area of supply. All right, which we just saw didn't have a 5-minute event break. So then the market proceeds to move to the downside. We're looking good. Let's zoom out to the H1. So number one, we can see that this this event break area holds up price, and then it finally gets broken. So we can get rid of that. And then it dips into this, the main event break area that I was looking at. And as you can see, what's produced from this 15-minute cluster earlier on in the morning, a nice H1 area of supply once again. So we can draw that in. All right. Now the market then returns. Okay. You got to remember, I'm not too fussed about this area now because we've got our main event break that got broken over here. Okay. Remember, I'm always looking for the event break closest to price. All right. Last night when I was looking at this was this one and this event break were the only event break that was available until I woke up this morning to notice that this event break was broken. Okay. So now we're looking at this fresh H1 area of supply. The market has now moved back into this zone. So what do? We drop down to the 5-minute chart and we look for a 5-minute event break. And we've got a lovely area for an event break right here. And the market just pushes through it. No friction at all. Just pushes straight through it. And we have a lovely trigger that is sitting right above, and the market comes and taps it nicely. Now, what did I do like a silly idiot? I did not give myself enough breathing room. Now, this is the nuance that I've recognized with GJ when it comes to 5-minute trigger events. I always need to give my 5-minute trigger events room to breathe. Always, because what I've noticed with GJ is that it comes up and it fills the whole zone on a 5-minute trigger. I don't know if you guys experience this with your particular markets, but with GJ, it fills 5-minute triggers to the brim. So I think what my new strategy is now with 5-minute trigger events is that I am going to place my entry point at 50% of the zone and then have my stop, that other 50% outside. So if it's 10 pips, I'm going to go in 5 pips for my entry and then we'll be out the zone 5 pips. That is exactly what I'm going to be doing from now on. So this was my this was meant to be my third entry, but then I got taken out. Okay, so we've got one entry here that's running, we've got one entry here that's running, and we've got one entry here that's got taken out. If we go to my MT4, we can see that, that's the perfect touch. It was so perfect, I didn't even think I got triggered, which was amazing. And then we've got this 15-minute area here where the market dropped. As you can see, one is currently at 178 $178, and the other one is at $119 profit. So let's just move back into this now. So we've got H1 fresh zone that has just been that has just delivered from a 5-minute event break. And if we zoom out, that was the last of it. Then we finally got a breakdown through this event break, which has given us some major friction. If we go down to like, I think the 15-minute chart, we can see that, we get a couple pushes out and it just breaks through it. But then now we've got a really good break out of that area. So guys, there was multiple opportunities to get into trades. And even, when it came out from here, there's like a 5-minute area here, potential. There was a 5-minute level test on this zone here, but I was working. So, I couldn't keep an eye on it all the time to try and get another entry, which was really annoying. So, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles and you miss out on a few ones to try and get back in if you can. But, we missed out on this one, which is no problem at all because we've got two nice running trades. So again, as I said at the beginning of this video, the potential for this now, as we have no friction to the downside, we could get a nice push down, which will give me 337 pips on this. Hold on, that's not even in the right place. Getting very, very pumped and excited. So we've got one trade here that would be 337 pips if that hits. And we have another one which would be 300 pips if that hits. And that is a 32 to 1. And the other one is 9 to 1 due to that big ass stop that I had. So guys, really, really good day in terms of eyeing up the market, in terms of following the process, in terms of just trading what I'm seeing, no assumptions, just, event breaks getting broken, markets holding up the price at higher time frame levels. We've got confluence on confluence here. We've got the H4 zone nested inside the daily supply. We've got the daily supply zone holding. We've got that H1 zone that's holding from that H1 event break. And then we've got another H1 zone that's holding again as the market pushed down. So, I think this market has the potential to push lower, but thinking and what happens are totally two different things. So what I'm going to be is very, very aggressive with my stops. I don't really want to take off 50% right now, to be honest with you. I mean, the market hasn't moved enough for me to be able to do that. I mean, everything now is at break even. I may even bring my stops from this to the entry point here. So if it does come back up, then I'll come out with something, nothing major, but it's something nonetheless. But as the market moves down, I could potentially be very aggressive with my stops. And as I said, the potential for this to just turn around tomorrow and produce a continuation pattern that just pushes straight through into this area of weaker supply is definitely a possibility. But there's also a big possibility, as we've got no friction here, for this market just to push down. And I'm talking potentially push down before the end of the week. So that could be really, really good. So I hope you've got some real insight from today's video, guys. And I hope maybe you've learned something new, just understanding what I'm seeing, when I'm seeing, and how things play out in my mind. Sometimes my mind's a little bit, up there and everywhere. Lot of shit just running around there when it comes to supply and demand trading. But I hope this has given you an eye opener into certain things, and I hope that your trading is going well. And tomorrow I will be back with another video. Take care.